In 2014, the United States of America was officially named the country that posed the greatest threat to world peace. A poll by research association Gallup International questioned 66,000 people across 65 countries and found that more people voted the USA as a bigger danger to world peace than Afghanistan, Iran, North Korea and Pakistan combined. Since the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, the USA has been the world's sole superpower. Today, it possesses weapons of mass destruction, including over 5,000 nuclear warheads, chemical and biological weapons. In 2011, the US spent $700 billion on their military resources. This amount equals the total of the next 14 largest national military expenditures. With the USA's position as the world's leading economic and military power set to be unchallenged, perhaps we should all ask ourselves, how dangerous is the USA? Despite the fact that Congress last officially declared war in 1941, since World War II, America has been engaged in more wars than any other country. War is a fundamental part of the USA's political strategy for world domination, and since the country was founded in 1776, it has been at war for more than 93% of its existence. America's extensive military resources mean that it's able to invade smaller countries for unlimited access to their resources. In 2003, the US invaded Iraq under the assertion that the country possessed weapons of mass destruction. But in 2007, the former head of US military operations in Iraq, General John Abizad, admitted that the US's real motive for the invasion was to access Iraq's massive oil reserves so that America could remain a self-sufficient nation. The USA's justified use of militarized force has erupted since the infamous terrorist attack on New York's Twin Towers. Just days after the 9/11 attack, Congress passed an authorization for use of military force on global terrorism. Because of this authorization, the US is currently engaged in secret wars across 134 countries. Whilst the details of these international special operations are classified, it is known that they involve combat, missions, and training foreign forces. So far, America is the only country to have deployed nuclear weapons during warfare. In 1945, the USA destroyed Japanese cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing an estimated 250,000 people, not just to force Japan into surrendering, but to strategically gain political and diplomatic advantage over the Soviet Union in the post-war settlement in both Asia and Europe. America's reputation for testing out new weapons on civilian populations was also highlighted during the last decade of the Vietnam War, when America attacked civilians with newly developed toxic chemical weapons, including napalm and Agent Orange, throughout the 60s and early 70s. More than 4 million Vietnamese people were exposed to the deadly herbicide. The chemical caused serious illnesses which are still evident generations later. At least 150,000 newborns suffered from deformities caused by the chemical. A total of 50% of the deaths during the Vietnam War were civilian, due to the extensive bombing and firepower directed towards heavily populated areas. As well as overt warfare, the USA have a ruthless history of puppeteering world politics to their own advantage, by supporting and engaging in plots to overthrow foreign leaders. In 1961, the CIA were involved in supporting the assassination of the democratically elected leader, Prime Minister of Congo, Patrice Lumumba. Meanwhile, Cuba's counterintelligence agency estimated that the CIA plotted 638 assassination attempts against their communist Prime Minister, Fidel Castro. Most recently, the USA's involvement in the Middle East has led to the rise of terrorist group ISIS, which is intent on violently instilling a global Islamic State. According to Guardian columnist Seamus Milne, the rise of the terrorist group came as a direct result of America's war in Iraq. With a rising threat in ISIS and America's fight in the war against terrorism, the dangers of the USA's ruthless pursuit in maintaining its position as a global superpower cannot be ignored.
Employing a paranoid rhetoric that portrays Russia as being bullied by the Western powers, the unstable figure of Vladimir Putin rules with a tight grip and one of the world's largest nuclear arsenals at his disposal. But how dangerous is Russia?